Fishmonger here at dansfish.com. We do this live stream every Wednesday. Not every Wednesday, sorry, every other Wednesday now at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And then on the bye week, we release a video. So you get a video one week and a live stream the next. This is a live stream week. All right, let me wet my whistle and we'll get right into it. Here we go. All right, here we are. So we're going to do our shipping report today. We have a giveaway to talk about, and then we're going to get to questions and comments and just geek out about aquarium fish, because that's what we like to do here at Dan's Fish. So let's start with the shipping report. Last time we talked to you 2 weeks ago, we were at 98.83% success, getting fish alive and healthy to our customers. This week, we are still at 98.83% success. We are holding even, which is good. We're not losing ground. I wish we were gaining ground, but it means nothing crazy is going on. So, yeah, that's where we're at. 98.83%. That means in the last 12 months, 98.83% of the fish that we've sent have arrived alive and in seeming good health when they got there. So that's as reported by our customers. Now, I know there's some customers that had some issues in the last 2 weeks. There's always a few. If that was you, I'm very sorry. There's one customer where I went with the weather. I went with the heat pack due to their weather. And then I got a comment today. It's like, it was in the 90s today. Why'd you send a heat pack? And I'm like, well, because the weather told me different, you know. So we don't win them all, but we win almost all of them. That's the first time I think we've had a problem like that in a long, long time. So I want to apologize to that customer and anyone else that had trouble. If you haven't already done so, please reach out to us so we can take care of you. With that, I want to get to the giveaway, which is for some orange shrimp. These guys. These are an actual picture that was taken of these. Orange is a sun-kissed cola from my childhood. They're a nice strain. We've had these going for a long time here at Dan's Fish. There's some variation in the orange. Some are lighter, some are darker. And if you want to see what they looked like as of a couple weeks ago, Corey from Aquarium Co-op recently released a video of a tour of the warehouse here at Dan's Fish, and this is one of the critters that he featured. So you can see what they look like as of, I don't know, a few weeks ago when Corey was here. So check that video out if you want to see what you'll actually be getting. But anyway, really cool shrimp. They're a Neocaridina species, which means they are hardy. They do fine in hard alkaline water. They breed like crazy, and they eat everything. I really like feeding them I know I've talked about this, but it's just true. I really like feeding them the Aquarium Co-op easy community floating pellets, because they don't float forever and they kind of disperse out and fall all around, and the shrimp can run all around and eat them. And our populations are just doing really well since we started doing foods like that versus something that's like an algae wafer, a big protein pellet where they all have to congregate and fight for the food. So that's one reason we're getting so many of these now. Everyone's getting food easily. Even the young ones can go find a pellet and nosh on it without getting pushed off the pile by a big, strong, adult. And it's going really well. So we've got so many of them that we're going to give some away today. All right. With that, really popular item, by the way. We sell lots of these. I don't know, we might have like 100 packs going out next week. Like, it's a good thing we're producing a lot because there's high demand. Now, eventually, I think the demand might outstrip the supply. We have a lot, but 100 a week's quite a few. So, but we'll keep going as long as we can with these guys. Yeah, they're doing awesome. So let's do that now. Let's reward the folks that are here early and go ahead and do the giveaway. So if you would like to enter to win a group of these orange shrimp, it's #yummy, because they remind me of orange shrimp, like, Chinese food, orange shrimp. So hashtag YUMMY, 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 no spaces, caps don't matter. And if you enter Now we'll do the drawing in a little bit to reward you early birds. Hashtag YUMMY. All right, with that, let's see here. There's 180 folks here. Not too bad. If you wouldn't mind taking a moment to share this out with someone who you think might enjoy some content like this, some fishy content, please do that. Share it out. Let's get some more people here. We always like having a good crowd. Okay, and with that, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to tell you about my trip to Kansas City, and then I'm going to tell you about a few new items we have at Dan's Fish. And then we'll get to your questions and your comments. So Kansas City was awesome last weekend, or this past weekend. The people there were awesome. Tim, thanks so much for picking me up, showing me around, taking me to all the fish rooms and the event and such. I really appreciate you playing chauffeur for the weekend. It was great to get to know you, and thank you for being such a great host. I saw some amazing fish. I saw some fish I'd never seen again in person. In fact, I saw at least 6 fish, maybe even a few more that I'd never seen in person, which was awesome. Some of the fish keepers there have some really rare stuff. And then I saw some stuff that isn't rare, but that was amazing, like a discus fish room. One of the fish keepers there has not only discus, but mainly discus. That's like, a main focus for them. And they were beautiful. They were awesome. This person's obviously spent a lot of time and care developing these discus. So that was awesome to see. So it was the whole gambit from that little gray fish that you never see that's super rare, but it's really cool to see because it's rare, but that only a limited number of people are interested in, to some just awesome discus and everything in between. Some fish rooms were just really small, a couple racks, and some were massive, 150 plus tanks. I think that's accurate. So it was really cool, and the presentation went well. There were a lot of questions, and when there's questions, that's a good indication that people are actually interested in the topic. So I appreciate that. There's nothing worse than being a presenter and it's just crickets the whole time. And you get done with the presentation, you say, "Are there any questions?" And if no one raises their hand, it's like, ooh. Either I did such a good job, no one has any questions at all, or they aren't really interested and they don't want to keep you around, so they're not asking any questions. And it's probably option B, right? So thanks to the crowd, you guys were awesome. It was really good to meet so many fellow hobbyists. And for those breeders that I met that are interested in selling fish to us, there's a couple of folks there, especially that breed a lot of Corridoras. Please hit us up. Hello@dansfish.com. That's HELLO@dansfish.com. We'd love to purchase fish from you. Got some awesome hobbyist bred fish this week. We got some rams. I just almost have stopped purchasing rams from the normal supply chain anymore. It's just so hard to find healthy ones. So I'm kind of veering towards hobbyist bred ones. And there's a breeder that we've got a few batches from and can produce decent numbers. And so we're getting a lot. So that's pretty awesome to be able to bring enough in from a hobbyist in the United States that I don't think we'll meet all our demand, but it's a good chunk of it. And that feels really good to get fish from a responsible source like that. That's pretty awesome. We got some lemon-eyed blue-eye plecos. And yeah, neat, awesome fish. Both those shipments did a great job. Let's see, the next thing I think I want to do is talk about some fish. So here's stuff that just went up today and yesterday. It's been a long time since we've had these blonde Vienna bottom sword guppies, but we have some more now. Look at the size of this dorsal fin. They're a very uniquely shaped fish. Look at that. It's like a sword here and a sword here. They're such a neat one. Oh, before I get into this, I better do this. All right, we've got a bunch of people entered, 145 entrants. Just curious, how many people are here? 214, that's pretty awesome. So out of 147 now entrants, the winner of some 148, you just got in 150. Maybe we'll give it just a moment more. It seems like people are coming in. We'll talk about a few fish and then we'll do this. So anyway, we have these back. And I know $59.99 is expensive, but they're really good quality and they cost me a lot. And I think that's still less expensive than we had to sell them for last time. Just a few blue axelrodi rasboras. I tried another group, hoping that I could find a supplier I could source them from regularly. That turned out to not be the case, but we have a few really nice healthy ones. I think this might be the last of the Tanga half-beaks. An absolutely stunning small little dwarf half-beak. It's interesting because this is an egg layer, not a live bearer. Most half-beaks are live bearers, so they practice internal fertilization, and they're like a guppy or a platy. They drop a fully formed baby. These have internal fertilization, but they don't drop fully grown babies. The female will drop eggs. It's a strategy that some killifish have. It's a strategy that some goodeids have, and not a ton of fish do it. There's only a few, and this is one of them. So interesting reproduction on these guys. Some more coastate tetras. People often ask me, what is a good schooling fish? And what they're looking for, I believe, is something that swims together unidirectionally, right? Unidirectionally. They're all swimming in sync, more or less. Most of our aquarium fish don't do that. Most of our aquarium fish kind of shoal. They kind of loosely congregate, and but they won't necessarily group up and swim around together. These do. The coastate tetra or blacktail tetra, or there's the black star, there's a lot of names for it. This is one of the best schooling fish. And a group of these in a large tank swimming around together in a school is quite a sight. They're not a super highly colored fish, but they make up for that by being in a group with that behavior. A bunch of these together, when they're colored in this black, is really, really distinct. It's, I don't know, it's like watching a herd of zebras or something, how that all moves together. It's really, really enchanting. It's mesmerizing. Some yellow shrimp, they have the blaze across the back. And they're doing awesome. I think they're going to be super hardy for you. Some more banshai, the Inca 50. A few more Santa Maria endlers, just a few left. And we were able to get some more albino redhead topos. This is a hard fish to get. I know one breeder that works with these, and I can bring them in once to twice a year is all. The ones we have, so this is what adults look like. Really beautiful fish. And the ones we have right now are juveniles, so they don't have their color yet. They're around 2 inches, some pushing 3 with the tail, and they're just getting to the point where pretty soon they're going to start developing these colors, but they don't have them quite yet. But it's awesome to see that color come in, to see that transition. I think that's one of the cool parts of fish keeping. Now, not everyone likes that. Some people understandably I want big, pretty fish now, and that's great. And then there's some people that are like, no, I want to see the transformation. I want to see how it grows and changes and develops. For some people, that's part of the fun. And I guess that's the fish breeder in me. My favorite thing to do in the aquarium fish hobby is to breed and raise fish. And I think part of it's because, A, I like to see all the different reproductive strategies fish have adopted. Some lay eggs where they just scatter a bunch of eggs and don't take care of them at all. Some lay little batches and guard them ferociously. Some keep the eggs in their mouth and hold them in their mouth until they're ready to hatch. Some jump out of the water and lay their eggs out of water, which is crazy. Like, they do all kinds of crazy things. And so that's really interesting. But the other part is watching them turn from an egg into a tiny little fry and then grow and develop, and seeing that whole progression is pretty neat, I think. One of our favorites for the last 6 months or so, we have these long fin cherry barbs. We bring these in from Europe, and they've done an awesome job. This is an actual picture, a previous batch, but the same breeder. The females even look really good. I think these are the best long fin cherry barbs I've ever seen, and so I've been bringing them in consistently, and the breeder has not disappointed, and now we're on our 4th or 5th batch, and everyone's loving them. So if you're looking for a peaceful fish that is very colorful and doesn't get too big, these, or any cherry barb, but these with the long fins have in the extra red that's been bred into them, really stunning. Apistogramma trifasciata, the 3-stripe apisto. I think these guys are awesome. Like, this is one of the coolest looking fish on the planet. Here's another one when it's old enough that it's the 3 stripes are kind of faded. There's a lot of fish, like, why would they call it a 3-stripe apisto if it doesn't always have 3 bold stripes? And the reason is, a lot of times the scientists naming these fish are getting preserved specimens, dead specimens that have been preserved in formaldehyde or alcohol. And those fish, in that case, would be pretty much white with this bold stripe, this stripe, and then this black stripe across the midsection of the bottom here. Really, really bold and distinct. So a lot of the descriptions you get, a lot of the names of fish come from that. They're not seeing the live specimens. And a dead fish has, or a stressed fish, or a whatever fish, a preserved fish, as you know, like even fish that are sleeping, if you turn on the light and it's been dark, you'll see them in their sleeping colors. It's very different than their daytime colors. If they're stressed because they're going through shipping or something like that, they look very different. If they're dead and preserved, they look very different. So that's why we get some of these names that don't seem to make sense. But you can still see the remnants of it on this one. You can see the stripe here, here, and you can see the stripe right here. But anyway, I think this is one of the coolest apistos out there. We cannot sex them. They're just not big and dimorphic enough at the stage they're at right now to sex them. But they're a cool one. And if you get a group, you'll probably get both sexes. Most people that buy, no, I shouldn't say that. A lot of people that buy apistos are looking to breed them and want both sexes. But a lot of people just want pretty fish for their tank. Like, apistos are a very good centerpiece fish. So I guess I can't generalize too much about them. We have some of the blue shrimp. A few more of the white wizard snails. These guys are super hard to get. Only available a couple times a year. We have some that are doing really well. And let's see here. There's one down here that I really wanted to mention. Where are you? Oh, it's these. So the dwarf chain loaches. This is another one that I shouldn't say they're hard to get. They're not as available as a lot of fish. They're fairly available, but healthy ones are not available all that often. I've got a couple suppliers that do a great job with these. They don't have them often. I have not. It's been over a month since I've been able to get them in. So I'll keep trying. And by the way, this isn't a FOMO thing. I'm not saying this to get you to be like, oh, I'm going to hurry up and buy right now because they're going to be out forever. I don't want that. But I do want to let you know that it's not one that we can always get. And so we might be running out soon. This is about the end of this group, and the group is awesome. They're fat and sassy and doing great. That's just the reality with some fish. Not everything's available a lot. When these are available, I buy lots of them. I'll buy, you know, 400 or 500 at a time because I know that they're not going to be available soon. Hopefully they are, but they haven't been for a while. So that's what I wanted to give a little mention to. By the way, when I was in Kansas City, I went and visited a fish room. Dr. Steve, shout out to Dr. Steve, who had some of these West Java pea puffers that had grown up quite a bit. And what they looked like, they were like a solid gold color with black here and black here, more or less. So kind of a bright gold fish with a really distinct black spot here and bright gold down the middle of the two. So they looked very different when they're grown up like that than they do here in this smaller stage. So something I was totally unaware of until I went there and saw his. So just be aware, these look quite different when they're adults. Now, the odds are that this is the same species as your normal pea puffer, and it's just a geographic variant. In this particular location, they look a little bit different. I don't think they're a separate species or whatever, but it's a neat little, you know, it's a little different, so I think it's pretty cool. And I think those are the major ones. I did a whole video on the guppies, so I guess I'm not gonna get deep into the guppies and all that stuff. But we do have some really amazing guppies right now. So check them out. All right. So the giveaway, now it's 190 entries, and we're going to go ahead and do this. And the winner is Donnie Main. Donnie Main, congratulations. You have won some orange shrimp. Almost. The next step is you need to respond in the chat. Say something in the chat. You have 2 minutes to do that. If this little timer here goes over 2 minutes before you say something in the chat, then you forfeit your winnings and we'll draw someone else. But as long as you respond before this timer gets to 2 minutes, you'll have claimed your winnings, and you'll get some nice orange shrimp. Yummy. All right. I saw some people doing some nice things. Thank you, people doing nice things. One of those people is Denise, sorry, I did it again. Denise, who gifted 5 Dan's Fish memberships. Thank you so much, Denise. Bob Kaler, great looking shrimp. Keep it up. Thanks, Bob. And thank you for being a moderator for so long and helping this channel and this business like you do. We really appreciate you. The Kings also gifted 5 Dan's Fish memberships. The Kings and Denise, thank you so much. That's a great way to support us. You know, a lot of those people that are gifted those memberships will renew their membership, and then that's recurring revenue that helps. So it's much appreciated. Kelly Foreman, all 8 rainbows arrived alive and looking great. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, especially with the delays. Oh, I should tell this story. So Monday, we went and shipped the fish out, and they went off. And I did some work, and then later that evening, I walked out, and the sun was kind of getting ready to go down, and there was some really dark clouds, and some of the clouds had a bunch of dips in them. It looked like the bottom of golf balls kind of sticking down from the sky. And I thought, oh, that's super pretty. That's really neat. And it was. What I didn't know, because I'm from California, where we don't have tornadoes, is that that's a cloud formation that happens when conditions are right for tornadoes. And I had no idea. And so I didn't think anything of it. I literally got in my truck to drive home. And as I was starting the car to drive home, I got a call from UPS. And the supervisor up at our local UPS station said, Dan, we got a problem. There's a tornado in Billings, and the pilot can't land. Well, that makes sense. If there's a tornado in Billings, which there almost never is, that's kind of a weird thing. Or I guess it was technically just outside of Billings, but still enough that the pilot couldn't land. Yeah, that makes sense. So they came back, we unloaded everything off the plane, got it back here so that we could open up all the packages, remove all the heat packs, take care of everybody, make sure they were okay. And so none of Monday's shipments went out, except for a few that were local in Wyoming, because those go on a truck, they don't go on a plane. And those went and got delivered. But everyone else who's not local in Wyoming, it was a whole adventure. But those shipped out, and almost everyone, as reported by the customers so far, landed successfully today. So if you were one of those customers, really sorry about the delay. There's nothing anyone can do if there's an event which prevents the plane from landing. Like the best we can do in those cases is go up to the airport, get the fish, bring them back, and just make sure they have the best care possible until we can send them out. So that doesn't happen often. It's so rare. Just a couple times a year. Well, sometimes it's only once a year. This time, I think it's been maybe, I can't remember, maybe twice where something like that has happened. And we've had to bring the fish back and take care of them. So anyway, thanks for your patience. We have an awesome customer base. Almost everyone was like, yeah, okay, we get it. Like, you know, a few people had to rearrange their delivery dates, which makes sense, you know, if they couldn't get work off or whatever. Yeah, it's been an adventure this week, for sure. So Kelly Foreman, I'm glad that your rainbows all arrived doing well. John Hell Driver Plays. Wait a minute. Do you think by the time you have normal topos restocked, you will still have albinos? I want 3 albinos and 3 regulars. John, I've been ordering the regular redhead topos geophagus for about a month, and I'm still trying to get some. So I hope that I have some arriving Monday. I'm trying. If I do, from this breeder, they almost always come in great shape. Then it'll be 2 weeks ish from Monday when they're available to go. So that's where that's at. John Helldriver plays. So John, I don't know if you know this. Let me show you something. I literally produce a development production of a play called Hell Drivers of Daytona. It's right here. So when I see your username, it makes me think of that. For a second, I thought you were maybe one of the actors or production folks that I worked with to make that happen. John Helldriver plays. And then I was like, no, that's probably just a different username for some reason. But yeah, I literally produced a play about Hell Drivers of Daytona. That it was a really cool musical. My good friend and mentor Mark Saltzman, he's got 7 Emmy Awards, I believe, wrote it. Rob Muir, who unfortunately is no longer with us, wrote the lyrics. And then Bert Navarre, best known for the song My Sharona. He was a member of that band, The Knack, wrote the music. And that was just a super fun production. Reading your username just brought back a whole bunch of memories. So thanks for that. But that was another life, theater producer. That was another life. I'll get back to it once this business isn't keeping me so darn busy. But, you know, for now, my plate is full. Just doing this dansfish.com thing for sure. Rose Munson, do you think you'll be going to the Fins and Feather Convention in Chicago the 29th? I will not. I've been on the road about once a month for the past several months, and it's about all I can handle. And I'm actually going to take a little break, I think, from traveling and speaking, just because there's a lot to do here. There's so much to do here. Especially after Corey from Aquarium Co-op visited. He had so many ideas, and we're like, a lot of them we really want to implement, and it's going to take a lot of work and time to implement them. So I just want to really focus on that. Plus, the kids are out of school for the summer. And so I want to spend some time, you know, with my kids. This will be my last summer with my daughter. She's off to college, so I want to take advantage of the last time I have. So let's hear. John Helldriver plays, says, it's Helldriver like the video game. Ah, gotcha. Of course, only a geek like me would think like, theater? Divide by Zero, thanks for getting those half-beaks back. I was heartbroken when they disappeared before I had a chance to order them with the Penguin Tetras. Fix that problem now. Awesome. I'm glad you're getting them. They are, oh, there's I want to say the coolest half-beak. There's some really cool half-beaks out there, but they're very distinct. They're tiny and they're gorgeous. Oh, I never checked. Let's see here. There it is. Donnie Main did respond 33 seconds in. Thank you so much. All right. Yep. Cool. So Donnie May, there's one more thing I need you to do, which is send us an email to hello@dansfish.com. That's HELLO@dansfish.com. I need your first name. I need your last name. I need your mailing address, because I need to know who I'm sending them to and where I'm sending them. And then we will settle on a shipping date and get you your winnings. I'm scrolling back up because chat jumped. Can we get another round of Royal Acara? I missed the last batch. Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah, hopefully those arrive next week. And the ones I'll be getting, if they come, are aquarium bred and raised. They're not wild caught. So that tends to be a little easier to, you know, they're already used to aquarium life. Jebra Yoder, any Habrosis dwarf cories coming soon? We're trying. Like, it's a big focus for us, figuring out how to source Corydoras habrosus and then make sure that they're healthy. So here's the tea on Corydoras habrosus. they have a nematode when they come in. Like, they're all from the wild, and they all come in, no matter what source you're getting them from. They're coming in from the wild. Every now and then you'll find some aquarium bred ones, but pretty much always wild caught. And no matter where you're getting them from, in the wild, they have these little nematodes. And they're an internal parasite. And we have medications that take care of almost all of those roundworms and nematodes and stuff. But this particular species of nematode has proven difficult to eradicate. So we've tried several different medications. We are actively consulting with veterinarians from a university down in Texas. One of them is a little more specialized and can help us a bit. So there's a couple medications that we think will work. One is albendazole, one is mebendazole. The problem is we can't find a way to make them water soluble. So we've tried several things to make them in an aqueous solution, and so far nothing's worked. These medications are severely hydrophobic. So we are working with some other medications, and we're trying to find the cadence of medicating to break the life cycle of the nematode. So far we haven't been able to. And we're also working on figuring out how we can use additional medications to test them as well. But we've run into some roadblocks on that path, and we're still working on it. But know this, when we do crack that code, you'll be getting Corridor subrosus that are nematode free, and probably the only ones in the United States that are actually free of internal parasites. But we're working on it. Deborah, it's been a frustrating road. Every time we think we're making progress, we're like, oh, nope, that's not working. So we're still trying. Anna Banana, the Bolivian orange lemon tetras I got from you are displaying some breeding behavior. So fun to watch them show off and spar with one another. Aren't those great? Yeah, they're like, yeah, they're, for those that have never seen fully grown adult Bolivian orange lemon tetras, they're awesome. They're, how do I describe them? They're like a regular lemon tetra, but where you had the yellow on them, it's kind of an intense orange, and then the whole body and fins of the fish is also an orange color. They're really gorgeous. Angel Rider 420 $. Where do all your Manakapura red, where do they keep going? Well, unfortunately, I was cleaning the Manakapura angelfish tank a few days ago, and I was checking them out, and they were looking like they were doing great, and then I noticed, hey, what's that? And I took a look at one of them, and I was like, ooh, that looks like a problem. So we checked them out, and it looks like they're at the beginning stages of an Epistylus bout. So we removed them from the inventory so we can treat the Epistylus. Now the good news is Epistylus is actually easy to treat. It takes some time, but it's easy to treat, and it's not like there's so much of it that they're completely covered and stuff. That's when it's really dangerous. So unfortunately, they came down with some, so we removed them from the inventory, and we're actively treating them to try to get them better. Alyssa Wren, can I clean algae off my glass with a magic eraser? I don't know exactly what a magic eraser is, but I do know people use melamine scrubby pads, which I think is kind of the same as a magic eraser. I suppose if it's that, as long as it doesn't have any soaps or chemicals or something infused into it, then yeah, it should probably be fine. A lot of people use melamine scrubbies, and I think that's what you're talking about. Anyone here know, is a magic eraser just a melamine pad that, you know, doesn't have a bunch of chemicals in it? Okay, I think we might It makes the weirdest noise, like when I screw it on and off. Listen. It's a flagellant water bottle. I swear it's the water bottle. All right. Okay, I think I got to all the stuff I missed when chat jumped. So here we go. We'll keep going down here. Oh, I did it again. All right, almost there. Almost there. Will the Ivan Akara Bimaculata be in stock in the foreseeable future? Thank you. Yes, James, but I can't foresee when in the future. But we do plan to have more available. I just don't know when. Okay, TJ, 2 months ago, I had a spawn of Neolamp Cotopunctata, sea punks. Yesterday, my heater failed. Temps were high 90s when I caught it. No deaths, just finding the resilience of fish fascinating. Oh, I'm so glad that you caught it before there were deaths. Yeah, when heaters fail on, that's a problem because they don't turn off and they just keep going. Okay, TJ, I think that means that you're a good fish keeper. I think that means that your water is really clean and nice. Something that happens when temperatures get high is most people know. If you don't, this is interesting and important for fish keeping, that as water temperature rises, its ability to hold on to gases lowers. So dissolved oxygen in water is highest when it's coldest. But as it rises up in temperature, there's less and less oxygen available in the water for the fish to breathe. And usually when fish die in warm water, they're not dying because they got heat stroke. That could happen, I suppose. But usually it's because there is a depletion of oxygen. They literally suffocate. Now, what exacerbates that issue is a bunch of biologic activity, a bunch of decay, a bunch of bacteria and protozoans and stuff that when the temperatures start going up, they get real excited and they start reproducing really fast. And you'll get these booms in these populations of protozoans and bacteria. And those are most likely to happen when, well, they happen when there's a lot of food for those things to eat. And what is it that they eat? They eat decaying organic matter, whether it's fish poop or mold or rotting plants, anything that's decaying. And so the fact, okay, TJ, that yours were up in the 90s and you didn't have any problems makes me think that you're doing a really good job managing your tanks and keeping the water clean, because you did not experience that. So good on you. Davis Jeffcoat pulled the trigger on the albino red swordtails, got them in today, and one of the females is gasping, but alive. Do I have options? Yes. I wish I knew. So we want to up the oxygen in the water. Okay, so the things I just talked about, nice clean water. But there's a couple other things you can do. You can add some salt, 5 grams per liter, that's 5 parts per thousand, to 8 parts per thousand. And that will help with osmotic stress, so she doesn't have to use as much energy retaining her osmotic homeostasis. That will help. And another thing that can help, I don't know what's causing it, but another thing that can help is methylene blue. What methylene blue does, let me make sure I remember this right. I'm gonna make sure real quick. Methylene blue. I want to make sure. Yes, this is correct. Okay, so what methylene blue does is it acts as a catalyst to convert methylhemoglobin back to functional hemoglobin. So what happens, and hopefully, I'm guessing you bought this fish from us, in which case I'm really sorry if she arrived with some problems. And we're really careful to pack the fish in such a way that they don't get exposed to ammonia toxicity. But nothing's 100%, and if she was exposed to ammonia during her travels, One thing ammonia does is, or nitrite, or the nitrogenous waste does, is it converts hemoglobin to methemoglobin. So the hemoglobin that the fish is relying on to carry blood throughout its body is converted to methemoglobin, which is a molecule which does not carry oxygen. And so if the fish is gasping, it could be that it did get exposed to nitrogenous toxicity, ammonia or nitrite, and that it's now got blood in a good portion, in its blood, a good portion of its hemoglobin has been transferred into methemoglobin. Now, I don't know for sure if that's the case or not, but if you put methylene blue in with that fish, that will help convert that methemoglobin back to hemoglobin, which helps the fish absorb oxygen better. So I'm going off gasping and trying to figure out how to get more oxygen into this fish. Now, what salt does is, as fish are diffusing ammonia and nitrogenous waste, they don't really do it so much by pooping or peeing like mammals do. They do it by diffusion out of their gills. Almost all the ammonia that fish get rid of, they diffuse through their gills. And what salt does is helps that process happen. It's sodium is one of the molecules that it needs for that process. And so not only is it going to help with the osmotic stress and conserve energy while the fish is trying to recover, but it's also going to help actively diffuse any ammonia which is in there. I really hope that ammonia or nitrite is not the issue. We work really hard to make sure that doesn't happen, but if it is the issue, these are the things that I would do to help a fish recover. And temperatures, I'd probably have at about 75 degrees or so. Nothing too hot, because you want all the oxygen saturation in the water that you can get. So those are my thoughts. And Davis, if you got that fish from us, then if she doesn't make it, please reach out, hello@dancefish.com, and we'll take care of you. Divide by zero, I would love some advice on those. Oh, hang on, I had another thought. Nope, can't remember it. I would love some advice on those Tenga half-peaks. I'm assuming they're jumpers, so obviously a tight lid. Will they eat wingless fruit flies? Oh, they love wingless fruit flies. But they'll eat anything that's floating. They'll eat flake food, they'll eat little floating pellets. We feed ours the Aquarium Co-op pellets, the floating what is it called? Can't remember the order. The Easy Community floating pellets. We feed them that. We feed them extreme krill flakes. What I like about the floating pellets, though, is they do float for quite a while. Because they usually don't eat after stuff leaves the surface and goes down more than a couple inches. And the krill flake's great as long as it's floating, but eventually it sinks down. You can also take some freeze-dried foods, like the freeze-dried bloodworms, and you take that cube and you break it up and put it in there. And the nice thing about the freeze-dried food is it floats nigh on forever. And so the freeze-dried foods are great for them. But I would have some plants in there, something like floating water sprite or something for them to hang out in, or have the option. Here's what happens. If there's an option, a place they can go to feel secure, then they'll kind of hang out around it usually, and you'll see them a lot. If they don't have that, sometimes they'll like cower in the corners in the back, and it's just not as good an experience for you or for the fish. All right. Rat Poison 1. Ooh, that's an intense username. Should lemon and red cherry tetras get more flake food or worms, brine shrimp, etc.? So when feeding fish, I think variety is key. So I feed a variety. In all those that we have, the red cherry tetras from Musil and the lemon tetras, they'll eat any flake we give them, they'll eat any pellet we give them, they'll eat any algae wafer we give them. They're not picky at all. But sure, also occasionally give them some brine shrimp, give them some frozen bloodworms, give them a variety. So if one food is deficient in something, then you feed a variety so that maybe another food has that, but maybe neither of these foods have this other thing, and that third food might do it. So we like to feed a rotation here. We like to feed a variety of foods. Kayla's Reptiles and Aquatics, putting some pep in our step with Pippi Longstocking as a cheerleader. Thank you, Bob. Hope you're doing really well. And thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. Share K, FYI, those full green guppies that we're selling at dancefish.com won Best Domestic Live Bear at the Lone Star ALA convention this past weekend. Oh, really? Awesome, Share. I want to make a note about that I can put on the product description. That's really cool. Am I going out of focus? No, I think I'm still good. It looked like when I leaned back there, I got fuzzy. Okay, I think we're all right. So, Best Domestic Live Bear, Lone Star ALA convention. I'm so glad you got to go to that. And that would be 6 of 25. Yeah, they are. I mean, I can tell looking at those guys. Let me show people what we're talking about. I can tell looking at them that there's something special. Just the fullness and the quality and the smoothness of the edge of the caudal fins, for example. The size of the body, nice big bodies. Full green. So we're talking about these. These are the full green guppies. And I had one person that purchased some and was, I think they left a review that you could read where it was like, these are hardly green at all. That's true. The guppies in the trade that are called green aren't necessarily green like a blade of grass. They've got some green to them. It's more like an aqua green. You can kind of see it there. In the right light, you'll see more green. In the other light, it'll look more blue. But that's, I don't come up with the names, folks. Like, that's their genes. They are green guppies, even if they don't look green, like, you know, like a bottle like that. Yeah. But that's awesome to know, Cher. That's awesome to know. Congrats. Blake Bryant, in regards to shrimp hardiness, I've had 3 different groups of neos from different sources, including local, but I lose 2/3 of the group after a month. Are they weak or something off? I'm assuming they're having trouble molting. If it's a month after you get them, I'm wondering if they go into molt and they just don't do well. Okay, here's the pitch. Blake, if you haven't tried them from us yet, give it a try. I think they're going to do really well for you. And if they don't, we'll take care of it. I just turned very orange. On my screen, I suddenly looked very orange. I don't know what changed. Oh well, we'll keep going. Robert Johnson, does your company use formalin for parasite treatment? If so, do you know what amount used and duration? Yes, we do. The form we use is ICEX, so we use ICEX. Now, oh, how far do I want to get into this? Okay, I'm not a veterinarian or anything like that, but we've done testing, and in our water, we can use much less of a dose, much weaker dose than is called for in the directions, like 25 to 50% of what's called for in the directions. The reason I know that is there's some fish that we think are a little bit sensitive to it. We're not exactly sure, but it seems like if we use formalin on those, ICEX on those, that we have larger losses than if we use it on other species. We don't know for sure, but because of that, we did a bunch of testing to figure out what's the lowest dose we can use that works. And for us, it's 25 to 50% of the recommended strength. Now, again, I'm not a veterinarian, so I'm not, telling you to do that. And the other thing is our water is very different than most people. We have extraordinarily hard, high calcium levels in our water with high pH, but very high calcium and a bunch of other minerals. And if you do some research, some sources say that at a higher pH, higher hardness, formalin is more toxic. And so we use it, but we use it differently than most people. Now, that being said, I'm not sure you should rush out and not follow the directions. We had to do a lot of careful A/B testing and a lot of research to figure out this for our particular water. I have no idea if it's the right call for everybody else. Yeah. I wonder why that happened. I wonder why I suddenly, are you guys seeing it? Am I like suddenly much more orange than I was before? It might be because the sun's going down and I'm by a window. And so that might be what it is. But to me here, I'm looking like a tangerine. Okay, couple more. Okay. The next one I can see is Kendall G. Do you have any tips for getting wild-caught fish to eat? I picked up some cribs from an LFS and later found they were wild-caught. They're not interested in anything I've tried. I've never found a wild-caught crib that would not take frozen bloodworms if it was healthy. So we're going to assume the fish is healthy. It's not got an upset tummy from internal parasites or anything like that. I would start with frozen bloodworms, and I just give a few and see how they go from there. Now, if they're wild caught and they're not very accustomed to aquarium life, they can be skittish for a few days. Even like, I sent an email today to someone that's like, I got my apistos today and they haven't eaten. I'm like, sometimes you got to give them a couple days, right? Fish that just got through transport often take a couple days before they're like settled in enough that they want to eat. They're a little freaked out, man. They're like in a new place. They don't know the rules yet. You know, they're new kids at school. And I would think something else you can do is make sure they're really comfortable. I would have dim light on that tank. If it's in a high traffic area, maybe cover it so they're not constantly getting startled every time someone walks by the tank. I'd make sure there's lots of hiding places and stuff in there for them so they can get away for a bit. Once they feel comfortable, they'll come out and they'll stay out. And once they know that you mean food, they'll come out when you walk by and be like wagging at the glass saying, feed me. At least that's been my experience with, I think, pretty much every crib I've ever brought in. But that's what I would try, Kendall, and I would try some frozen bloodworms. Wendy is sidetracked. Wendy, it's so good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. Speaking of heater failure, this can't be good. What tech name should I search to find a temp controller alarm? I think these are available as a secondary line of defense for failure. How do they work? You know what? Ours are hardwired into a computer module where all our sensors and stuff lead. We get alerts if the system gets out of temperature, and if it's out of temperature for too long, the system just shuts down so that the fish don't get too cold or too hot, right? I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a consumer grade thing that an aquarist could just use at their house. I'm not quite sure. What I've used in the past are thermostats. So I got them from Gemco, and basically you can set your heater to a certain temperature, and then you can plug it into a thermostat and set that thermostat to a temperature that's a little higher than that. And the thermostat has a probe that goes in the aquarium. So if the heater fails on, then after a couple degrees, it'll trip the thermostat and the thermostat will cut off. So heater failure, thermostat should catch it. Now, it's up to you to notice that heater has failed. It's a couple degrees warmer in there, and then replace it. But that's the redundancy I'm aware of. I'm sure there's got to be probes and stuff that will send you a text message or something if heat gets out of whack, but I'm not familiar with them. All right, we're gonna do one more. Trippy Aquatics, would you recommend the Sultan Plecos to try to breed? Yes, although yeah, I would. I think those are awesome. And I was gonna say, I don't know if they're bred very much, but I buy them from a breeder all the time, and they breed them fairly consistently. So yeah, I think they're awesome. It's one of my favorites. That's a beautiful fish. And I don't know anything about breeding them. but I buy them from a guy that breeds them consistently. So I know it can be done, just don't know exactly how. Yeah, let's do it. All right, with that, I'm going to sign off. I've got quite a bit more work I need to do tonight, and it's 8 o'clock, and I'm very tired, so I'm going to do that. But I want to thank my moderators before I go, because they're awesome people who show up week after week to make sure that the chat is running smoothly. Thank you so much for doing that. It's just amazing to me that you guys do that. Some of you for years on end, and it's greatly appreciated. Everyone who's a member of the channel, thanks for being a member. Everyone who gifted memberships, so generous of you. Thank you so much. If you threw money at us in the form of a super chat, that's always appreciated. It's never required, but every little bit helps. If you were active in the chat, thanks for participating. If you were not active in the chat, I still love you. Hail the Lurker Nation. If you're watching the replay, hello from the past. And if you're listening to the podcast, thanks for listening. All right, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Same bat time, same bat channel. Next week, we'll release a video. And our July 4th barbecue. Oh, I always wait till the very end and forget to say important things. So our July 4th barbecue is, well, it's July 4th here at Dan's Fish at our warehouse. That warehouse will be open to everybody. We'll feed you. We'll barbecue here and give you some free food. And you can hang out, see some, I don't know, 478 aquariums full of fish. Talk and hang out with a bunch of other fish nerds and have a good time. So you're all welcome to do that. If you do decide to do that, it would be appreciated if you could RSVP at hello@dansfish.com, HELLO@dansfish.com. Not absolutely required. If last minute you're like, I think I'll go, then, oh, but I didn't RSVP a week ago, I can't go. Yeah, you can, just come. We'll figure it out. But if you do know you're coming in advance, that would help us, just so I know how much food to buy. Anyway, now I can sign off. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.